you do a stereo aux input 2, you give it that color that I like, and then delete that, call this reverb, delete that, call it delay. So you go to options, setup, input output, you go to bus, and you want to create two auxiliary buses for the reverb and the delay. You know what? We don't need that stuff. So delete path. That's what we got. That's what we need. You're going to go new path, and you're going to create two stereo buses. We'll call this reverb and call this delay. Click OK, and that's where you select them. So reverb becomes a reverb and delay becomes a delay. Boom, bam, bam. That's how you do it. So now, if you want to send from your main, click in the sends area and you just stereo bus to reverb. You can copy this setting with an Alt key and drag it. And same thing you can do with a delay, and just copy it like that. So for instance, you want to give your main this much reverb, and then to the backs you want to give a negative, I don't know, like 8, and then to ad-libs you want to give it like a full blast. If you shift click on these tracks, you can actually pop these out and they have a different setting in them. Here you go. Different setting, whatever you feel like. Listen and adjust. So once you have all the mains, backs, and the ad-libs, you can do just that. So same thing goes for the delays. These, send it to effects all, and back in this window, I like to take these and just put them right there. If we just use the reverb on the main, this is what we get. A reverb, a wet reverb. So it works. Let's summarize real quick. Here's a session. Everything that you see on the screen right now follows into the master. This is where you put your reference file to compare it with. Inside of the pre-master folder, you got 3 subfolders, which are combined stems of the beat all, voc all, and effects all. And inside of the vocal, you have 3 stems that become a full voc all, which are main, backs, and ad-libs. Same thing for the beat. You have kick, bass, instruments, drums, and effects, which also contains stuff in there. Oh, by the way, you can also send, reverb from effects, drums, instruments, kick, bass. Same goes for delays if you want to. It's working like on all of them, and then you wanted to reduce the amount of master effects, you just do that. So you just reduce that if you need to, or if you want to render out files with no effects, completely dry, you do that. All right. Or if you wanted to do the opposite thing and you just want the effects, then you just solo them out, or whatever combination you want. What else do we want to do? Sometimes you want to use a sidechain, and you might want to use it. I mean, it's a really, really useful function. You can duck instruments, letting the vocals through. Instead of carving things out, you can have a compressor effectively do that for you if you set it correctly. Or you can have bass drum be ducked to a kick. You can also have a reverb being ducked to the main vocal, or a delay being ducked to the main vocals. If the delay is like really strong and then it kind of clouds the performance of the main vocal, you can duck it so that when the main vocal is present, the reverb is suppressed. Sidechain, what it actually means is that you let signal not be a part of your master. It's not a part of your monitoring system. It's just for the program or for the hardware gear. For instance, this SSL right here can also do that. They hear it, but you don't. The end listener doesn't hear it. So that's why they call it sidechain. And in order to do that, in Pro Tools, unfortunately, it only works with a mono. We'll go back to our setup, input and output, bus, and we'll create a new path for the kick and for the vocal. 2. We'll create 2 mono because Pro Tools doesn't see sidechain with stereo. I don't know why, don't ask me, but that's how it works. First one, we'll just call it like VSC, actually SC B, sidechain vocal, and this one would be kick. All right, and we'll create 2 new mono audio tracks. Hell no, aux. This would be SCV, and this would be SC kick. Create. I like to give it a no color like that. These guys, they are supposed to not go anywhere. Shift Alt, you hold them and you press on the output and you give it a no output. Then we'll take the sidechain kick and drag it into the beat all, and sidechain vocal, we'll drag it into the voc all. Now, if you want your bass to duck under the kick, you'll send it to a compressor. Like for instance, Waves R Comp is what I use by default for sidechaining. And now in its sidechain, you'll go down, you choose mono, bus, sidechain, kick. And then on the kick, you will need to go to send and send it to a mono, bus, sidechain, kick. So now the kick is sending stuff to this group auxiliary bus that goes nowhere, but it works. And then this would be auditioned by the R comp in the bass and it'll start working. Same goes for the vocal. Open that group up and we can use it from any of these, but you can also use it from the main group, which I usually do. In the main, we'll do the same thing. We'll mono, bus, sidechain vocal, boom, full level. It goes to sidechain vocal right here. For instance, you want your instruments to duck under your vocals, right? So we'll just copy that, you know, and now the R compressor of Waves, it is gonna listen to vocal. Same thing for the effects. You know, you can grab this and put it like there, there, and there. So the effects will listen to the vocal. If you wanted a different sidechain amount instead of the main group, you can grab it, kind of do that if you want. Whatever works for you. This is all I need to do. Now you have control over your individual instruments. You have controls over your subgroups, which are like stems. Then you have control over your main stems, whether it be drums or vocals. Then you have separate effects that are sidechainable. Sidechains work for the main vocal so that anything you want ducks under it. And then you have a sidechain from the kick drum. You can set your own sidechains if you want. The only thing is that, once again, it only works in mono in Pro Tools, and I don't know why. Now, what could be useful for you to use on the master bus? It could be a Voxengo span to see your frequency spectrum. In Pro Tools, if you type width, you have that. It's useful to collapse stereo into mono, and there are 2 ways to do it. Some plugins, instead of collapsing stereo into mono, they will just turn the stereo off and show you the mid side of the signal. This plugin collapses it. See, width? You just pull it down until it becomes a 0, then it'll just collapse stuff in the mono. So now when you put that plugin before span, you'll collapse and span will see the collapsed signal. So it's up to you how you want to see it. There's a plugin called Isolate. It's a cool plugin. You can mute any region that you want or solo. You can also have auditionable mid and the side. You can have a dim button and you can have your crossover sections over here for these to work. So it's a really cool plugin, but when the signal is loud and it's at 0, I don't recommend using it because it'll give you a little bit of a crack on the sound. So just audition through it, but when you render, turn it off. You can also utilize something like a Ulean loudness meter. I have a professional version. I bought it. Let's jump into my own template and I'll show you what I'm talking about. This is my template, just like the one we did. Oh my God, I forgot to tell you how to save it, right? I'll tell you right now. So here's the session that we finished together with y'all. And what you're gonna wanna do is you go here, and in this window, I've kind of changed a few things to my regular session. So some of these things, they're actually in a different color, but it wouldn't matter for your computer because you're gonna have a different thing. And over here, you're gonna wanna click the apply to all tabs and export settings, and then you just give it a name and you save it. You can save it on your desktop or wherever you need to do it. But this is important to keep this file because, you know, in the inputs and the outputs, they are different settings for different sessions. So if somebody gives you a Pro Tools session from a different computer, they're gonna have maybe a different routing. So you wanna keep your own. This is complicated here because of this. Because of the routing of the matrix of your audio card, and this is pretty complicated to set up. And once you do it, you just want to, you know, keep the progress, just keep that saved file. So you export your settings, and then whenever you need to load it, you just import, you select the file, and you open it, and then you pretty much do it for every tab, because I tried doing it and it only did it for the bus tabs. It didn't do it for the output. So you import here and you import here as well. And to save the template, all the work that we have done, you click File, Save as Template, and you can choose a pre-made category, or you add your own category. Or if you want to do it like completely in a manual fashion, then you click Reveal Session Template folder, and there it is. You can have, you know, your own folder. Let's just call this Test. And now when I go File, Save the Template, it'll have that test over here. So you give it a name, you can do that. And then it'll just populate it here, but that's how you do it. And then the next time that you create it, session 2025, you'll have, you know, create from template over here, and then those are the folders. I have this, and this is my thing. And there it is. Everything is in perfect order, just like we did it. You know what I mean? So everything is in here with everything. So just work on this, see how you like it going, what colors you want, what names you want, and then just utilize this session. Why is it like that? I'm gonna have to figure it out, but yeah, it's because I was showing y'all stuff and I had to delete something, so everything went a little bit sideways, but I'm gonna figure it out.